Nobody warned you that being this way would cost you something, that thinking the way you think, seeing what you see, processing the way you process would make certain people uncomfortable just by being in the same room as you. You were not trying to intimidate anyone, you were just being yourself. And somehow, that was the problem. Psychology has a very specific explanation for why this keeps happening, and once you understand it, everything starts to make sense. Your brain processes information differently from most people around you. Not better in every way, just faster in some ways, deeper in others, and more connected across ideas that most people keep separate. When you speak, you skip steps, not because you are showing off, because in your mind, those steps already happened before you opened your mouth. When you ask a question, it is not a simple question. It contains 3 layers of thinking that most people cannot see. And when you listen, you are already 3 moves ahead of where the conversation currently is. To you, this feels completely normal. To the people around you, it feels like something else entirely. Psychologists call this the intelligence gap effect. When the cognitive distance between 2 people is too wide, the less dominant mind begins to feel threatened. Not consciously, not on purpose, but the brain registers the gap as a social threat, and it responds the way it always responds to threats. It protects itself. This is why certain people go quiet when you enter a conversation. Not because they dislike you, because your presence raises the cognitive stakes of the room. This is why your questions make people defensive. Your question exposed an assumption they did not know they were making. This is why people talk over you, dismiss your ideas early, or change the subject when you go deep. It is not rudeness, it is self-protection. But here's where it gets interesting. The people who are most threatened by your intelligence are rarely the ones who are unintelligent. They're the ones who are almost as capable as you, close enough to recognize the gap, far enough to feel it. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. When someone sees another person operating at a level just beyond their own reach, the discomfort is sharpest. Not envy exactly, something closer to friction. The friction of being near something your brain wants to measure itself against and cannot quite match. And this is the part nobody ever says out loud. The misunderstanding is not about you being difficult. It is not about you being arrogant. It is not about you being too much. The misunderstanding exists because most people have never had to build the mental vocabulary to describe what they are experiencing around you. They feel the gap, they just don't have the words for it. So they reach for the closest available explanation. And the closest available explanation is always a flaw in you. Too intense, too serious, too complicated, too much. None of those words are accurate. They are just the only words available to someone standing outside of what you are. If you have spent your life feeling like you are too much for the rooms you are in, you were not too much. The rooms were too small. The right people, the ones who can actually meet you where you are, do not feel threatened by your mind. They feel pulled toward it. You have not been too difficult to understand. You have just been waiting for people with the range to understand you. Subscribe for more psychology that finally explains why you experience the world the way you do.